Hello everybody and welcome to episode 12 of building an Imperial Refinery in LEGO. In today's episode I get a lot of progress done, completely finishing the first section of this mock, which ends up being about 2/3 of the total. I also get the layout for the second section, the final third of the mock, done. So without further ado, let's get right into a time lapse and make some progress. Okay, everybody, getting right into the new progress. I have so much to show you guys. Starting off with this elevator shaft area, I put some various details, these caution lines around, just so nothing goes right down into that fall. I also have some arrows, just marking out where to go. A nice control panel, which connects to one of the now 3 towers, which all look amazing and have some really cool details on them. On these 2 sides, just have some small stuff. I will get to the other details on the other ones in just a minute. Have a very nice rim of the pit. I was able to finally fill these gaps. It's actually really simple. They are loose pieces, but I think it does the trick and still looks good. I wish I could have figured out something that wasn't loose or quite as loose, but it all works in the end. I also have the start of the big wall section that will go along, lining up with the angled wall. Moving to the right, there's this nice red dotted line outlined area that just indicates some kind of storage or possibly some vehicle parking. We will see once I get to the final detailing. For now, it's just a storage area, and I really like how this area turned out. And this crate design I want to take a look at because I think it's really cool. It uses one of these weird cylinder pieces and connecting some various kind of colorful things on each end. And I think it turned out as a really nice fuel canister. This right here is my favorite detail on any of the 3 pillars, and it's this resistance helmet with a red head and a light inside that has this round blade piece on it, and I think this makes a really cool little industrial light. It also has a little wire that leads to a respirator piece, which I think looks like a cool little power source for it. Overall, I really like how that turned out, and I think it's a cool detail for this area. Over on this end of the platform, I have this little railing that has a nice gun emplacement currently that overlooks this terrain area, which includes this terrain section, which I will get to in just a minute once we look at the interior. With the lights off, we can take a closer look at the lighting of these interior rooms, starting off with the office room of the Grand Admiral. I like how the lighting turned out in here a lot, especially these wall lights that really just illuminate the floor and lower half of this room. And then the ceiling light adds a lot to it as well. Moving into the other room, although not as lit, I still think it looks pretty nice. And with the background light in the final photos, it will look really nice and well lit. And overall, the lighting in these rooms is pretty nice, and I really like the interior, especially with all the small details that will be added in later. The final light is the elevator shaft light, which, as you can see, does not illuminate the area very well, and that is the case with the other 2 layers, and that's just kind of how it is when you get one light for the biggest room, but it's no big deal. That's the most open and lit from everything else room anyways, so it will be fine. Before we move on, I just turned up the ISO on the camera super high so you could see a really cool shot of the interior of the pit lit with those red lights. I think it looks super cool. Moving on to the terrain area, I was able to complete the section of terrain here that overhangs this nice tree And overall, this turned out really nicely, especially this buildup against the wall of the pit. And these two pipes, I think, add a huge pop of color to this nice blend of all three of the main colors of this mock. And I really actually love how this little area turned out, and I want to figure out some kind of cool scene I can do right here. So let me know down in the comments below what you think I should put on this little plateau. That is one little problem with this area, is these two pieces can't actually connect. I just couldn't figure out a way to pack it into that little small area, but that's not a big deal. So moving right down, I found that this spot for this little water evaporator, or I think that's what it's called, I still don't know, but I think that is the best place for it. It's kind of the most open and natural area for that. I do think that it looks a little weird when you look at it from the side. It's like, shouldn't that go down a little deeper, but then the cave's there. I might end up moving it eventually, but we will see once I get the other section on. It might fit over there better. At this angle, you get the best view of the full-on mock. It looks so amazing, and overall is just really nice to look at. Finally being done with this huge circle. If you're wondering, I did actually have to change up the design for the filler of these gaps for this side because the loose piece doesn't exactly work, but the trade-off is that you can see a little bit of that tan droid arm in there. It's actually pretty hard to see on camera, but in person it's pretty obvious, so that was a trade that I was willing to make, though, to fill these gaps and make the pit look very nice. Now, the details for this third tower is some of my favorites, just because I went really creative with this one especially. It's like two circles. It almost kind of looks like a bicycle gear kind of thing, and I really think that turned out really cool. And then I have this little vent which has a nice printed piece. It's actually filling a pretty ugly gap in there. I also just broke it, but has some nice colors to it and stands out pretty well. From here you can get a really nice view at the pipes going down this pillar, including this nice cut in this one that has some electricity kind of vibes coming out of it, and I think makes a really fun and nice detail that could be incorporated into a little battle scene in here eventually that will look really cool. And that there is almost a full rotation, and I just showed off everything new to the mock that is interesting enough to show off. There are some complicated things, like this section here, having to get 4.5 plates by whatever that is, 6.5 bricks with this plate raised. All very complicated. You can see I had to do some funky filler here, and it doesn't look amazing. But I think this tower and the other two both turned out really nice, and this pit in full turned out really an amazing accomplishment. And I did actually just realize that I'm missing the tube there, so I guess you could say it's not finished, but I do actually have that. I just think it's in one of my bins, but it is technically finished. I have all the pieces. Something may not be on the mock, but I have it built. So that is everything new. Now, before I get on to the next section and the layout for that, just do a little bit of a nice overview of all of the progress in total. Okay, we have the size for the next section of this mock. So it will split away through these Technic bricks and connect there too. This section is actually almost exactly a third, or I guess a half of that section, and it's just duplicated. The plan for it is I'm going to have a 12 section of this angled wall with some details running down it, and then a nice hangar door type thing here, which will have some speeder bikes in a nice big hangar that will take up this whole area, 2 stories tall, and then have a nice like pop-out kind of command center overview room of this whole hangar area. And then I will have the 7 stud section of the angled wall on this side that will go up all the way and connect. And then the angled wall will probably go back about there, I'm guessing. It'll kind of line up with this, but I want it to be a little thicker just so it adds enough support for this whole area. I might end up needing to add some kind of pillar in this section to hold up the mini bricks and details that will be on the command center area and the platform above, which I have rethought, and I don't think I will be putting any type of shuttle up here unless I somehow can figure out a way to make a small little shuttle that somehow matches Imperial vibes. We'll see though. Probably just go with some kind of battle scene. And then the terrain, which is the pretty much just basic vibes of this, just continuing. I might even knock it down a couple layers, but I'll probably keep it at the same height to keep this simple. So we'll have it same layer. This will continue, maybe go out, do a nice big medium nougat section. Overall, this whole next section will end up looking really amazing. So stay tuned for next episode. Might be another long wait just because I want to make some good progress to show you guys next episode. And I am pretty much all out of filler brick, actually. That's the thing I'm out of this time. So, another order, and then onto a lot of progress. Anyways, that is going to wrap up this episode of building an Imperial Refinery in LEGO. I really hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing with notifications on so you don't miss any future videos.